Chapter 1: The Quiet Life. In the shadow of rolling hills and deep green woods lay the village of Willowbrook. It was a quiet place where life moved slowly, with the sound of the blacksmith's hammer and the chatter of the market forming a gentle rhythm. The villagers were simple people, content with their small world. Yet, not all were satisfied. Ethan, a young blacksmith's apprentice, dreamed of something more. His nights were filled with tales of knights and heroes from dusty old books he borrowed from the traveling merchants. One day, he would whisper to himself, "I'll do something great." But in Willowbrook, dreams were for the foolish, and ambition was seen as vanity. Ethan's father, an aging blacksmith, often scolded him, "Stay grounded, boy. The world doesn't need more dreamers." Ethan didn't argue, but his heart ached for adventure. Chapter 2: The Arrival. On a brisk autumn morning, the peace of Willowbrook was broken. A rider on a black horse galloped into the square. She was tall and striking, her dark cloak billowing like wings. Her name was Isla, and she carried a sword at her side. The villagers gathered. Whispering nervously, Isla dismounted and stood before them. "A great danger approaches," she announced. Her voice carried an authority that silenced the crowd. "I am here to train those willing to fight for their home." Ethan's heart leapt. This was the moment he had been waiting for. But not everyone was convinced. Marcus, the village's strongest man, sneered. "We don't need a stranger telling us what to do," he said. Isla's gaze was cold. "Then you will fall when the storm comes. The choice is yours." Ethan stepped forward, his hands trembling. "I'll train," he said. His voice was quiet, but it carried determination. Isla studied him, her piercing green eyes searching his soul. "Very well," she said, "but courage will not be enough. You must also have heart." Chapter 3: Trials of the Brave. The training was grueling. Isla tested not just their strength, but their character. One test involved crossing a narrow bridge over a raging river to rescue a sack of grain. Most failed, too afraid to step onto the swaying planks. Ethan, though terrified, focused on each step and reached the other side. "You see?" Isla said to the others. "Fear can be overcome during the nights." Isla shared stories of her travels. She spoke of betrayal, sacrifice, and the bonds of trust. Ethan listened intently, feeling a connection to her words, but not everyone supported him. Marcus spread rumors, saying Ethan was weak and only wanted glory. The villagers, always wary of change, began to doubt Ethan. One night, Ethan overheard Marcus speaking to Isla. "He's no hero," Marcus said. "How fail when it matters?" Ethan's heart burned with anger. But Isla's response surprised him. "True heroes are not born, they are made. Let him prove himself." Chapter 4: The Storm Rises. The danger Isla warned of arrived sooner than expected. A band of raiders, armed and ruthless, approached Willowbrook. The villagers panicked. "We're doomed," some cried. Ethan stood before them, his heart pounding. "We're not doomed," he said. "We can fight. Together, we're stronger than they are." His words stirred something in the villagers. Even Marcus, begrudgingly, agreed to stand with him. Ethan devised a plan. Using the village's natural defenses, they set traps in the woods and fortified the square. Isla watched from the shadows, her face unreadable, when the raiders attacked. Willowbrook fought back. Ethan led the charge, his voice rising above the chaos. Hold the line, he shouted. His sword flashing in the moonlight, the battle was fierce. And the villagers fought with everything they had. Ethan faced the raiders' leader, a towering man with cruel eyes. Though outmatched, Ethan used his agility and determination to bring him down. Chapter 5, The Aftermath. When the sun rose, the raiders were gone. The village was battered, but victorious. Ethan stood in the square. Exhausted but proud, the villagers gathered around him. Their faces filled with gratitude. Marcus stepped forward, his head bowed. I was wrong about you, he said. You're a true leader. Isla approached Ethan, her expression softer than before. You have proven yourself, she said. But remember, this victory is not yours alone. It belongs to all of you. Ethan nodded, understanding for the first time the power of unity, as the village celebrated. Isla prepared to leave. Ethan found her by her horse. Will you stay? He asked. She smiled, a hint of sadness in her eyes. My path lies elsewhere, she said. But I'll remember Willowbrook and its brave blacksmith. Ethan watched her ride away, his heart heavy yet filled with hope. He had found his strength. Not in the glory of battle, but in the bonds of his people. And as life in Willowbrook returned to its quiet rhythm, Ethan knew he was no longer just a dreamer. He was a hero.